Hello, and welcome to a new year. The new year is always a time to dust off old habits and even start some fresh ones, often with varying degrees of success. But for many believers, it's a more intentional effort to go about starting a new Bible reading habit, a study plan, a reading plan, the ubiquitous Bible in a year plan. And there's nothing wrong with these, but I think the habit of reading the Bible is very different than forming one of intentionally studying it. I think that's where we need to look at this year as an opportunity to get deeper and find ourselves in a different place in our walk and our understanding of God's story. As with any year, there's only ever one appropriate place to start, though I'll say this is definitely not the only place you want to go this year. It's certainly a place where anyone should start. So this year, I begin with a fresh Bible, without notes, without markings, to try to have a fresh start, because I want this to be a study Bible that I can use for years and marking up and using as a reference for my ministry, for my teaching. And I think this is a great resource for any believer to have, especially if you've got a number of old Bibles, you've got notes spread out through notebooks, apps, a number of different places, a physical deposit of biblical knowledge for yourself. Let's read Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. This is the beginning of your new year right here, and I'll point to this. This Hebrew phrase, tohu vavohu, formless and empty, is the exact beginning of your year this year. Most people come into the new year, new aspirations, new goals, hoping to start fresh, and this is the very first fresh start in the history of everything. Tohu vavohu here. That is the word for chaotic, nothing. And I think that describes the beginning of many of our new years well. I know my previous year, my family's, was very chaotic, dark, difficult, and turbulent. The surface of the deep, this is the waters. You'll see throughout the biblical story, these deep waters are often referred to as the place of chaos, the place of death. And this is the picture where God comes in and he begins new. He creates life. He speaks into this and brings about new creation and new life. There's a lot of different discussions that can come about from the beginning of this story, many different perspectives that people can have, many different ideas that can be injected into this. But for the first audiences of this particular word, we would be seeing these people believing a God that was bringing order to chaos and life and order to a difficult and evil place. These are the kind of ideas that we're starting to see God bring about. My prayer for you in this new year is that as you engage God's text, you find order and goodness brought through a chaotic and difficult time, through a difficult place, from a place where chaotic nothingness reigns. And we may not sense that things are getting better, but here we see this is the condition of things at the beginning. And this is where God starts. Genesis 1 through 2. There's a lot more in here, you might have guessed. Please join us for that. I think we're going to have fun.